Hey everybody, how's it going? We are assembling the Super Pro 70, hopefully for the last time. Keep your fingers crossed. These old power saws, labor of love. They're going to do what they're going to do, and you're just along for the ride. What you do with these is you check everything 5 times and just try and eliminate any issues. Okay, well, I have put Moto Seal on this carb or intake boot and another good healthy coating there. We're going to put this together right now. Now I put Moto Seal on here because I don't want this to leak here, and this saw, the boot's in good shape and that, but this thing being the age that it is it's at an age where you really got to check and double check everything, because you never know, right? I'm just putting a little Loctite on these intake boot screws and some anti-vibe washers. These things definitely shake parts loose. I had the AV mounts actually came loose in that last video we did with this saw. I'm like, geez, this thing's kind of vibey, and it was, because the front AV mounts were completely detached when we got home. So that's okay, it's all in good fun. I like these old saws, and I like working on them. I like showing you guys the trials and tribulations. There we go, nice. We got all that good Moto Seal squeezing out of the intake. This saw is, I'm enjoying building this saw. This is the first Mcculloch I've ever ported, so there you go. Never done one before. And we're just seeing what we can do with Mccullochs. Now, this being a clamshell, there's not a lot you can do with them. So, you got to be mindful of your build parameters, because, you know, stuff like this, these have really loose squish. At least this one does, and I hear Macs tend to have loose squish. So you can't do, well, in my opinion, and again, my opinion's worth what it is, worth the price of admission, eh, folks? You can't do things like really raising the exhaust roof or any of that to these, because if you raise the exhaust roof, you're going to run out of compression, is my thoughts. And so we'll see. This thing seems to be fairly nasty. My first go with it. Was not happy with that chain in the last video. It's just too cold. It's you can, but it's really hard to get a power saw to cut good when it's cold like that. Okay, we'll put these 2 AV mounts, upper mounts, back on. These are the ones that we modified. Still not super happy with these rebuilt AV mounts, but I mean, they work. They hold the saw together, and they seem to be, at this point, doing their job. So we're just going to kind of roll with these. I just put some rubber in between, and seems to be working. Whatever. She's not a showgirl. She's an old power saw that deserves to be run and enjoyed. So I'm definitely learning these and the order of operations, which is making my job a little bit easier. These are a little tricky to work on, I'm not gonna lie. They take time, but they're definitely super cool power saws. So yeah, why not? I think these are worth the effort that it takes to get them going, and I'm definitely going to do more in the near future. Okay, I'm going to bring you guys in closer here. Okay, let's flip this thing over. Again, all I did is put some this product is used underneath like factory equipment. It's a hard rubber, and it's well, we lost all the nuts for here. It's a hard rubber product, and they use it underneath factory equipment is what I was told. So I'm just gonna grab some bolts here, and I'll hit you guys back up in a second. Okay, I got some nylox, and now these pieces of rubber are way too fat, but when you suck them in, everything seems to line up not too bad. So we're going to run these again. If I don't like them, I will pull this power saw down a second time. Hardest part about repairing these, I'm finding, like these mounts, is there's not a lot of space in here. So I had another idea with different AV mounts, but they don't fit. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like you're very limited to the space that you have. So you got to kind of just work with what you got. See, and again, this is super tight in here. I actually don't like this repair, but really didn't see any other way to fix this. Okay, I got those front mounts situated. Not the funnest maneuver, but I got them. All I'm doing, I'm putting a little schmo on the impulse line. Again, call me paranoid, but I seem to get air leaks on these old saws, so I'm going to do everything in my power. See it right here, friends? Right here. Right down, see, right down in there. Okay, right down in there, there's an impulse line. It's hard to get at. I'm going to slide it on here. There we go. And now what I did is I pre-installed, let's see if we can get this on film. Okay, look. See that right there? Now what I'm going to attempt to do, okay, you guys can see the impulse line there. I'm going to pull this. I pre-installed a zip tie. Okay, because I don't like the setup of this, the way it was fitting. So nothing wrong with this line, but it's just the, okay, now I'm going to slide this past the barb. At least attempt to. I kind of like the challenge of working on these guys. They're different, and I'm learning. I kind of like that. Pretty hard to get bored when you're constantly working on different power saws. And again, thanks to your guys' support, I get the chance to work on saws that I would never see in my locality or even in my country. I mean, Mccullochs are just, they're not plentiful in Canada from what I see. I've been looking, and they're not plentiful. Okay, I'm just giving this a good snug. I think we got her. Nope. There we go. Oh, she's tight now. There we go. Okay. Beautiful. Take this. Okay, you guys see that? Right in there. See the impulse line? A little zip tie. Okay. Here's your front mounts. Kind of hillbilly, but that's how I roll. Just gonna back you guys up. Okay, well, we're getting there. Really enjoying this saw, even though it seems to be fighting me every chance I get. It's a learning process. Okay, well, I figure just making sure there's nothing in there, getting rid of my moto seal. I kind of like the way the carb goes straight down on these. Kind of neat. I like that. These are just all around. These are just interesting power saws. Here's our carb with the gasket we made, and I noticed when I assembled this the first time, there's a little bit of a deviation from where my impulse hole is to the actual hole in the gasket. So I'm just going to clean that up just a smidge. It'll be fine. You see that? That's just a homemade gasket, and we'll put a little more moto seal on it and clamp it back down, and it should be just fine. Making sure there's no dust or debris. This carburetor, I didn't really have to do anything to it. It's working good, and if a carburetor's working good, I don't touch it, because why bother, right? It's one of those things. Once in a while you get a carb that's fussy, and then you gotta, you know, tear it down. But this saw seemed to run good. I'm just prepping this with brake and parts cleaner. Okay, I'm gonna take my moto seal again, and this one I'm gonna be very careful just to put a light skim coat all the way around. I don't want to block that impulse hole. If you block that hole, you'll probably have enough fuel to start it and idle it, but you won't have enough fuel. When you give it throttle, the saw will just die usually. That's usually a telltale sign of an impulse issue, a leak, or, you know, and that's that hose we just hooked up. And that just creates vacuum, push and pull on the carb. As the piston goes up and down, the carb goes, and you have your impulse. Okay. Same thing here. I am Loctiting everything on this saw because I didn't do everything last time, and a lot of stuff came loose. So these anti-vibe washers are no good. So again, I'm going to replace them with new ones. You can never have too many. You can never have too much supplies in a shop, especially when you live out of town like I do. Okay, there's one. We'll find another one here. These never came loose, but I figure, why not? Better safe than sorry. Because again, when I build a power saw, wherever it ends up, right? Wherever it ends up, I want whoever has it to enjoy it. And part of that is just me doing my diligence and you know, just trying to cover all the bases so that whoever gets the saw doesn't end up having to work on it all the time. Okay, now we'll take our throttle assembly. Now I should be able to line this up right here, here. There we go. Give me a second here, guys. I gotta grab the that plate that goes over the carburetor. Okay, again, we got our carb plate here. I put some non-permanent Loctite, the blue stuff. Just gonna try and get my choke situated. There we go. Throttle's hooked up. We'll do the fuel line after. Okay. Good stuff. I like when things just kind of go together. Okay. What we got here? Again, I'm not in a hurry, so I'm not using the drill today. That's a highly congested subject amongst builders, to use a drill or not use a drill. I do. Sometimes I use a drill, and believe it or not, sometimes I don't. It just depends on what I'm doing. I like to take things apart with a drill, but I rarely put them back together with a drill. Okay, here's the bottom of our throttle. Goes into here. I don't know how well you guys can see this. There you go. I take that off so that you can turn the throttle linkage. You give it that little quarter turn. Okay, fuel line. This one drips a little bit. Apparently that's a Mac thing. Buckin was telling me that they can drift. So it's nice, you know, it's nice to have friends that run Macs. You know, Buckin's been running Macs for a long time, and it's nice to be able to ask him what the deal is with these, because honestly, friends, I don't know. I never touched a Mac until Jack Fly sent me one, what, 3-4 months ago. So it's no one of us knows everything, so it's been great to have all these good folks that I can chat with. Okay, make sure that car is tight. We got our fuel line in. This is good stuff. I guess, I mean, really, I guess there's no reason why we can't put our air filter on. Just dying to run this saw, guys. Wow, this thing's rowdy. Whether it's going to last or make me happy, I looked at the piston. It looks like a sanded piston, because remember we had to clean it up. So it doesn't look pretty, but I don't see any new scoring. So if I don't see any new scoring, I'm pretty happy. If you guys know what I'm saying. Because again, I looked for cylinders for these things, and they look like they're as rare as hen's teeth. So that's fine. We'll do what we gotta do. Okay, here's our handle assembly. Big bolt that goes in the front. And again, I'm gonna put another anti-vibe washer on this bolt. I'm a little paranoid now. This thing really shook itself apart when we ran it there the other day. So I mean, not everything fell off, but a few things. So this power saw doesn't know who it's dealing with. I used to work on Harley Davidson, so you want to talk about vibration, let me tell you. Harley wrote the book, at least old Harleys. Once they went to twin cam A and B, well, your FLs and your FXRs and Dynas and that kind of thing, those were smooth. But once they went twin cam, unless you were riding a Sportster in that era, vibration became not a thing. So I rode a new Sportster not that long ago, and I was actually pretty impressed. Those new bikes make a lot of power, considering we used to have to jump through hoops to get that kind of power. Now, I mean, you can put I'm going to call it a power commander for a lack of better words. That might date when I was working on bikes, but you can put a power commander or something like that on there, a good intake, and a decent exhaust, and you can make big power. Again, power that we used to dream about, not dream about, but spend a lot of time and money to get to, and now you can just plug and play almost. So, okay, we got our rear bolt here, again, Loctited. I'm going to put a little more on here. I like this blue Loctite, it comes off. It's not, I remember when I was a mechanic years ago, you'd come into a vehicle that the owner put red Loctite, like the permanent stuff, or the green. Oh, you're heating every fastener with a torch. Okay. Bing, bang, boom. Okay, might as well put the top handle on. Helps if you put it the right way. Again, more Loctite. I left this tank with fuel in it for a week, and it never leaked a drop. So the only place it came out, I didn't have the fuel line in it. So, and I think actually why this started leaking, this Loctite on there. This handlebar was slightly bent, so what I did, maybe I shouldn't have done that, I straightened the bar a little bit, and what that ended up doing is I guess it torqued on the fuel tank, and a leak that was probably, well, you guys saw in the video, it was already there or starting, really opened up. So I kind of caused myself some extra work, but whatever, it is what it is. This is all just fun for me. So I actually flipped this muffler upside down because I want to see if this saw will run better or worse with more back pressure. We're not sure, right? Again, guys, a lot of the stuff I do on this channel is just fun, and I don't know what this thing's going to do. It runs pretty strong now. It seems to be the kind of saw that you got to keep it on the pipe and keep it up in the revs, but you do that and it's pretty nasty. Again, I didn't necessarily port it to be a zinger, but it is one, so can't do a ton with these because they're clamshell. This is the first clamshell I've ever ported, so shows how dedicated I am. I'll do anything on this channel. I'm just having fun, and you guys seem to be enjoying what I do, so let's port a Mac, or 7 of them. I like these power saws. I'm just gonna pause you guys here. Okay, I got the bottom mount on. We almost have a power saw. Now, this is fun. I'm starting to learn how these go together. They're not that bad once you learn. They do have their little tricks, but what saw doesn't? What saw doesn't? Okay. Okay, let's put the recoil on. Okay, recoil bolts. One of you nice people out there sent me fasteners for this saw. Thank you. And noticed I was missing the recoil bolts, so. And again, I'm going to put an anti-vibe washer on here. And the factory washer, and then I'm going to Loctite this too, because like I said, this thing is definitely eating bolts. Doesn't feel vibey when you're running it though. That's what I actually found kind of strange about this saw. It doesn't feel to me like it's super vibey when it's in my hand, but like I said, it rattled those AV screws right out of there. One more of these. These are tapered. Good, that heat shield's cooperating. That's the one that we usually forget to put in there. There we go. Usually I got to push that heat shield down to get it to engage. And I don't like this screw. This is the one right here, actually. Front. I've been replacing fasteners as I go on this saw because I want it to be just right. Do it once properly is kind of just how I roll. And again, sometimes when you do everything in a power saw, you still end up with this. You get to take it apart again, but that's okay. That, to me, that just means you'll appreciate the saw more when you do get it running. That's the deal there. Okay. Beautiful. All I want to do is I want to get this thing back up and running. I want to bar it up and these bolts really gouge up the recoil. Okay, nice and tight. Super happy with this thing now. I think we got her. I shouldn't have said that because we just jinxed ourselves, but oh yeah. I love that when you put a saw back together and it's like ka-chunk, you know you've created a monster. Yeah, this saw, you keep it on the pipe and it rips. Like, this is a saw, once I get that chain dialed in, it's gonna be something. is what I'm thinking. Okay. We have a power saw. And you know what I forgot to do, friends? I forgot to put the rear AV mounts bolts in. We better edit that out. But we're not going to, because that's not how we roll on Tinman saws, is it, friends? All just folks. We are all just folks having fun. You'll never hear me engage with negativity on this channel or any of that stuff. I just don't do that. I'm not interested in it. Life's too short. That's how I look at it. So I'll put this on there. Again, more Loctite. I say if you build saws and you're having fun, I'm in. I always say this. I don't begrudge anybody for their techniques. And if your saws run good and your customers are happy, or you're happy, or whatever you do, I'm good with that. See, I knew I'd forget something. I was actually starting to pat myself on the back here. I was like, I did it. I put a Mcculloch back together without missing anything. Let's see if we can get this one in. Again, a little more Loctite. As soon as I saw them two little bolts left, I went, oops. These are a little tricky to get in. They're, you gotta bend them into place. Okay, friends, I'm gonna finish up this power saw and find that bolt that I just dropped. Be right back. Okay, a completed Super Pro 70. Let's put some fuel in here and let's see what we got going. 45 to 1, Opti 2 is what I run. I run 87, 91, 93, all different kinds of fuel. You guys ask me that a lot. I'm probably going to do another frequently asked questions video. I think it's time. Okay, let's see how this thing goes. I'm happy she's back together. This thing running. Now friends, you see how this thing's fighting me? This saw was tuned. This saw was tuned for -20. Okay? So this low jet was at 1 1/4 turns, 1.5 turns out, okay? This thing's too rich for being inside right now, so I'm gonna fire it up again. Let's see what it does now. go. Super Pro 70, ready to go again, hopefully. As always, thanks for watching. Take her easy. Later, guys.